You know what people fear the most in this world? Silence. That moment when no one calls, no one texts, no one's watching. But that silence, brother, that silence is where warriors are made. I know what it's like to sit alone, wondering if anyone gives a damn. And let me tell you, being alone is not a weakness. It's the sharpest blade a man can wield, if he learns how to hold it. I wasn't always this strong. I wasn't born with muscles or mindset. I was born broke, like most of you, flat broke. I had no safety net, no rich uncle, no lucky breaks. My father was a chess master, brilliant, yes, but we were poor. And that teaches you real quick. No one's coming to save you. Not your mom, not your government, not your friends, no one. When I was a kid, I used to cry myself to sleep. No joke. People think that's weak. I think it's real. I watched my mom struggle, working day and night just to feed us. I didn't have trainers, I had holes in my shoes. I didn't get handouts, I got reality checks. And every single one of those moments built this, built me. You see, when you're alone, you have two choices. You either break or you build. You cry or you conquer. I chose to build. And it wasn't pretty. I used to train in freezing cold gyms, punch old bags until my knuckles bled. No one clapped, no one cared, but I kept showing up. Not for applause, for vengeance. I owed it to my future self. The world will lie to you. It will tell you to find comfort, to sit still, to wait for your moment. But comfort kills more dreams than failure ever will. And that moment you're alone, that's not the enemy, that's the test. That's the universe whispering, what are you made of? I remember nights in Luton when I had nothing, no money, no car, no reputation. I was grinding kickboxing fights just to eat. There were days I'd lose, come home bruised and broke. I'd stare at the ceiling in the dark thinking, is this it? Is this my life? And you know what kept me going? The fact that no one was coming to rescue me. That pain, that aloneness, it made me sick. Being alone strips you of illusions. It forces you to meet the real you, not the one on Instagram. The one without filters, the one who stares back in the mirror when you're broken, and borderline ready to quit. And if you face that man, really face him, you become unstoppable. Society teaches you to fear being alone. They make it a curse. Oh, he's lonely. No, I'm focused. While everyone else is partying, posting selfies, and chasing validation, I'm building, I'm strategizing, I'm sharpening my sword. Being alone is how you turn pain into power. Think about it. Every great warrior, every titan in history had to walk through solitude, whether it was in the gym, on the battlefield, or inside their own mind. Greatness doesn't come from crowds. It comes from nights spent in silence, building something the world can't yet see. And yeah, it gets hard, real hard. You'll feel misunderstood, you'll feel forgotten, you'll question everything, but that's part of the game. Diamonds don't form in sunlight, they form under pressure, in the dark, deep beneath the surface. That's who you become when you embrace solitude. Let me tell you this, the world doesn't respect victims. It respects victors. And victors are forged in silence, in sacrifice, in self-discipline. I was alone when I built my empire. I was alone when I became world champion. No one handed it to me. I took it, brick by brick, blow. You want to succeed? You want to escape the system? Then stop fearing being alone. Use it. That's where you find your edge. That's where you read, train, plan, execute. When everyone else is distracted, you're refining your game. That's why they can't beat you. You're too locked in. People used to laugh at me, say I was delusional, say I'd never be rich, never be known, but I didn't listen. Not because I thought I was special, but because I had to win. There was no plan B, no fallback, no one else paying my bills. I turned isolation into obsession. The truth is, comfort breeds weakness, but solitude breeds strength. When you spend enough time alone, you realize what matters. You stop caring about opinions. You stop chasing approval. You start walking your own path. And that's when everything changes. There's something sacred about the grind when no one's watching. When it's just you and the iron, just you and your goals. That's when you grow. That's when you evolve. And later, when the world finally sees you, they call it overnight success. But you and I both know it took years in the dark. Let's be clear. Solitude isn't isolation. It's training. It's time in the dojo, time in the mental war room. The weak run from it. The strong run toward it. They know that being alone is where kings are crowned. Not in public, but in private, in pain, in perseverance. And don't get it twisted. I've lost people. I've buried pain. I've been betrayed. I've been hated. But I never stopped moving forward because I knew one thing: as long as I had me, I was enough. I'd make it. I'd win. I'd build something unbreakable. When the phone doesn't ring, that's when your power begins. When your friends fade, when the crowd leaves, that's when you find your fire. You realize you were never supposed to be liked. You were supposed to lead. You were born for more. And that path is lonely for a reason. Do you think lions walk in packs? No, they walk alone. And when the time comes, they strike. That's who you become when you stop fearing solitude. A lion, unshakable, focused, deadly. You no longer need noise. You become the storm. When I was broke, no one helped. But I didn't cry about it. I expected it. The system is designed to keep you dependent. But being alone, that's freedom. It's the ultimate rebellion. It's saying, I don't need your approval. I'll build my own kingdom. And that's exactly what I did. Through pain, through setbacks, through nights no one saw, I turned rock bottom into a foundation. And now they ask how I did it. So next time you feel alone, I want you to remember this. That's your power. That's your advantage. That's your secret weapon. While others rely on the world, you rely on yourself. And when you learn that, really learn it, nothing can stop you. Being alone isn't the end. It's the beginning. The beginning of strength. The beginning of mastery. The beginning of becoming a legend. You just have to be willing to suffer for it. And if you are, I promise, you'll come out of that fire forged, unbreakable, untouchable. It's easy to blend in. It's hard to stand alone. But the ones who changed the world, they always stood alone first. They embraced the silence. They ate the pain. They walked through hell with no applause. And when they emerged, the world couldn't ignore them. So I'll leave you with this. You don't need a crowd. You need a mission. You don't need approval. You need purpose. You don't need company. You need conviction. And when you build that in solitude, you become the kind of man no one can cage. Let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. You keep grinding. You keep rising. You keep walking alone until the day they all realized they were watching the rise of a king. Because being alone isn't weakness. It's your weapon. You see, people wait their whole lives for someone to understand them, for someone to come fix everything. But no one's coming, bro. This is your life. This is your fight. And until you accept that, you'll keep spinning your wheels, looking for help in a world that's too busy helping itself. The pain you feel right now, that's not punishment. That's potential. It's pressure turning coal into a diamond. And if you can hold the line, if you can stand tall while the world forgets your name, then one day they'll remember you, not because you fit in, but because you stood out. Every man reaches a point where he asks himself, is this all there is? That's the breaking point, or the breakthrough. You either fold or you forge. You either become like everyone else or you become dangerous. And being dangerous starts with walking alone, sharpening your mind like a blade. Listen carefully. This isn't just about isolation. This is about transformation. When you spend enough time with yourself, you start becoming your own best friend, your own motivator, your own discipline. You start controlling your mind, your body, your money, your mission. That's where true power lives. When I say being alone is a weapon, I'm not talking about hiding away. I'm talking about preparation, about going into the shadows to build the kind of man who can't be ignored. And when you come back out stronger, sharper, faster, suddenly the people who laughed at you want to sit at your table, but they weren't there when it was empty. Do you think I became world champion by being around soft energy? No chance. I trained alone, I suffered alone, I studied alone. The ring doesn't care about your excuses. The bank doesn't care about your tears. The world doesn't hand out success. You take it in silence while no one watches. They told me I was arrogant. They said I was cold. They said I was too focused, too intense. Good. That means I was on the right path. You think legends care about opinions? You think Spartans waited for approval? No, they did what had to be done, and you should too. Look in the mirror. What do you see? A man full of excuses or a man full of potential? Because that version of you, the elite version, he's already inside you. But you'll never meet him until you cut off the noise, until you isolate yourself long enough to evolve. Solitude is like the gym for your soul. It's where your thoughts get clearer, your values get stronger, your mindset hardens. It's where you separate from the masses and become the one. But most people are scared of it. They drown it out with distractions. They'd rather be surrounded than strong, but not you. You're here for more. And I'll tell you something I've never said on camera. Some of the loneliest nights of my life were also the most powerful. I was crying, yes, but I was also learning, planning, grinding. That's the duality of a warrior, feeling pain, but still pushing forward. That's how legacies are built. They won't understand you, not yet. They'll mock you, mislabel you, misjudge you. Let them. Their doubt is your fuel. Their silence is your symphony. You're not here to be liked. You're here to leave a legacy. You're not meant for average. You were built for greatness. But greatness doesn't show up in comfort zones. It shows up in dark rooms, cold showers, lonely gyms, quiet nights. That's where kings are born, not in crowds, but in the cave. You want to make it in this world? Then learn to be alone without being lonely. Learn to suffer without complaining. Learn to win in silence. And when the time comes, when you emerge, you won't need to say a word. Your results will do the talking. Use lid. You'll walk into rooms and people will feel your presence. Why? Because they know he's been through something. He's seen things, felt things, built things. That's power. That's presence. That's the product of a man who chose the hard road and walked it alone. So don't beg to be included. Don't ask to be accepted. Forge your own path. And when they come asking how you did it, just smile, because you know the truth. While they were partying, you were planning. While they were resting, you were building. While they were loud, you were silent, focused, and deadly. Now you're the storm. Now you're the standard. Now you're the weapon. Let them have their comfort. You have your solitude. Let them seek pleasure. You seek purpose. Let them scroll endlessly. You study endlessly. And in the end, when the dust settles, you'll stand alone at the top. Not because you had help, but because you learned to thrive without it. You see, being alone never broke me. It built me. It showed me what I was made of. It tested every limit, pushed every boundary, and in doing so, it gave me everything. So if you're alone right now, good. Let it hurt. Let it fuel you. Let it wake you up. Because that fire in your chest, that's not loneliness, that's potential. Turn it into your weapon and change everything. You want to be elite? You want to rise above mediocrity? Then prepare to walk alone for a long, long time. Not for a day, not for a week, for years. That's the price. That's the toll to cross the bridge into greatness. And the reason most men never make it, because they fear the silence more than they fear failure. But I embraced the silence. I made it my home. When my phone didn't ring, I didn't panic. I built. When nobody clapped, I didn't stop. I doubled down. That's the difference between boys and men. Boys cry when they're left behind. Men build when they're left behind. And eventually the world is forced to catch up. Understand this. The man who can master solitude becomes a man who can master anything. Business, combat, leadership. Because when you don't need anyone else to survive, then you can walk into any situation, any environment, and thrive. Because your power is internal, not borrowed, not dependent, yours. I remember nights in Romania, sitting in my apartment, ice on my knuckles, money low, brain running at 1,000 miles per hour. I was broke, I was exhausted, but I was never hopeless. Because I knew if I just stayed locked in, if I just kept going, it would all flip. And it did. That's the truth no one tells you. Most of success is just not quitting. Most of power is just consistency. And solitude is what trains that. When there's no one there to push you, you either push yourself or you rot. And I refuse to rot. You've got to become the kind of man who thrives in pressure, who smiles when it's just him versus the world, because that mindset, it makes you dangerous. Most people need approval. You need progress. Most people want comfort. You want conquest. Look, you'll lose people. That's part of it. You'll lose women. You'll lose friends. You'll lose support. That's the cost of evolution. When you start ascending, people start disappearing because your grind becomes too loud for their excuses. And deep down, they know they're wasting time while you're building a legacy. They'll call you obsessed. Let them. Obsession is the language of the elite. You think greatness comes from balance? No, it comes from domination. Total, complete, relentless domination of your time, your habits, your vision. And the man who trains in solitude, he has nothing but time. He controls it. Stop seeking noise, start seeking clarity. Sit with yourself. No phone, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. It'll hurt at first. Your mind will scream for stimulation, but eventually you'll go deeper. You'll start to understand yourself at a level no one else does. And that's the beginning of power. Because when you understand yourself, no one can manipulate you. No one can throw you off your path. You'll see through the lies, the fake relationships, the empty promises. You'll become clear. And clarity is a weapon the weak will never understand. There's a reason the monks train in mountains. There's a reason warriors meditate in caves. Solitude strips away everything fake. No validation, no filters, no distractions, just raw reality. And if you can face that and not flinch, then you've become something rare. When I say being alone is a weapon, I mean it's the forge, the fire, the laboratory. It's where your future is created. People wait for motivation. I build it. People wait for opportunity. I create it. Because I spent years in silence, doing what needed to be done. You know the hardest part? It's not the pain. It's not the hunger. It's the loneliness of being misunderstood, of watching the world chase mediocrity while you chase mastery, of knowing you could have friends if you lowered your standards, but you don't, because you refuse to be average. That kind of solitude takes courage. And let me say this to the men out there who feel alone, who feel forgotten. I see you. I was you. But I promise, if you stay disciplined, if you stay hungry, that isolation becomes power. One day the world will watch in shock as you rise. And you'll remember every quiet night, every sacrifice, every lonely moment. That's what built you. Not the applause, not the likes, not the fake friends, the suffering. That's what turned you from boy to beast, from follower to force. I didn't build empires because I was lucky. I did it because I stopped making excuses. I stopped whining, I stopped blaming. I owned every second, every mistake, every loss, and that gave me control. The man who takes full responsibility becomes the man who controls his future. So ask yourself, what's stopping you from becoming the man you were born to be? Your environment, your past, your relationships, or is it just you? Not willing to sit alone and do the damn work. Because deep down, you know the truth. Every minute you spend running from solitude, you're running from growth, from greatness, from God. You've got one life, one, and you're wasting it avoiding discomfort? Not me. I chose the fire. I chose the grind. I chose the path no one wanted to walk. And now, they all want to know the way. But I can't walk it for you. No one can. You've got to be the one to wake up early, even when you don't feel like it. You've got to be the one to skip the party, the girls, the mindless entertainment, because your goals mean more. You've got to be the one to push through pain, doubt, and fatigue alone. That's how winners are made. Let me be real with you. No one respects a man who complains. No one respects a man who hides behind others. But the man who walks alone, who embraces solitude, who outworks everyone in silence, that man is respected. That man is feared. That man is you if you choose to be. You've got the same hours in the day I had, the same pain, the same fears. So what's the difference? Mindset, discipline, will, and all three are built in the crucible of being alone. When I walk into a room, I don't speak first. I observe. I calculate. That's something solitude taught me. Silence is strategic. It forces you to listen, to watch, to know. While others talk, you prepare. While others rush, you plan. That's why you win. They'll call you cold. Let them. Because one day, you'll be warm in your mansion while they're still chasing likes on Instagram. One day, you'll have peace while they have regret. One day, you'll be free because you paid the price they were too scared to even consider. This life owes you nothing. It will break you if you let it. But if you stand tall, alone, it will eventually respect you. It will bend to your will. Because the world doesn't give power to the needy. It gives power to the relentless. So stay hungry, stay alone, stay dangerous, and watch how they all come running back when you no longer need them. People think the journey is about how fast you run. It's not. It's about how long you can keep walking when your legs are shaking, your chest is tight, and your heart is breaking. But you don't quit. That's what separates the lion from the sheep. Not talent, not luck, just endurance. They told me I was insane, that I should take it easy, that I should enjoy life. But how can you enjoy life when you're broke? When you're average? When your soul knows you're capable of so much more? I wasn't put on this earth to be mediocre, and neither were you. People avoid being alone because when it's quiet, the truth gets loud. The voice in your head starts reminding you of everything you haven't done, every dream you abandoned, every excuse you made. And that's why most men run back to distractions, because they can't face the man in the mirror. But you're different. You're still here, reading this, listening. That means you're not broken. You're becoming. And what you're becoming is something rare, something lethal, because the man who faces his truth and keeps going anyway is a man you can't stop. Loneliness isn't your enemy. Weakness is. Distraction is. Addiction is. But solitude is your sensei. It's where you learn self-control, purpose, fire. It's where you become a man of depth, not just surface. It's where the world stops owning you and you start owning yourself. The masses fear being alone because they built their entire identity on being liked, on being seen. But you're building in the shadows, brick by brick, day by day. You're doing the hard thing, the unseen thing, and that's why you'll be remembered when the rest fade into dust. I spent years being broke. Broke in my bank account, broke in my soul, but I never stopped working. While they laughed, I calculated. While they rested, I researched. While they wasted time, I trained my body, sharpened my mind, armored my spirit. And eventually, I stopped losing. People look at me now and think it was overnight. They don't see the pain. They don't see the nights I couldn't sleep because my vision wouldn't shut up. They don't see the hunger I had, not just in my stomach, but in my spirit. I was starving for greatness. Still am. Because here's the secret no one wants to admit. It never gets easier. It just becomes normal. The pain, the pressure, the isolation, you stop resisting it. You start using it. You start weaponizing it. You turn the dark into fuel. And that's when you become unbreakable. I've been betrayed. I've been abandoned. I've been counted out. But I kept going. And every time I leveled up, I had fewer people around. Because not everyone can breathe at high altitudes. Most people collapse when the air gets thin. But you adapt. You evolve. You rise. You've got to understand something. A man without discipline is a man without a future. And you don't build discipline when it's easy. You build it when no one's watching. When you've got every reason to quit, but you don't. That's where character is forged. In the fire, not in the spotlight. You want peace? Earn it. You want freedom? Sacrifice for it. You want respect? Then command it. And all of that starts when you embrace being alone. not as punishment, but as preparation. You see, comfort is the silent killer. It doesn't stab you in the back, it puts you to sleep. It whispers lies like you've done enough. You deserve a break. And if you listen too long, you wake up years later wondering where your life went. But pain wakes you up. Solitude wakes you up. That's why you have to seek it. You have to make suffering your training partner. Make hunger your friend. Make discomfort your teacher. And before long, you become someone who can't be shaken, who can't be stopped. That's the man the world fears. Not the loudest guy in the room, but the calmest, the most focused, the one who says nothing but builds everything. I want you to remember this. Your story doesn't end in the pit. It starts there. Every king was once a lonely man in a dark place. Every legend was once laughed at. Every hero was once invisible until they chose to fight. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need you. Because when you finally break through, they'll all act like they knew you'd make it. But deep down, you'll know they weren't there when it mattered. They weren't there when you were hungry and tired and alone, grinding in silence. They weren't there when you were building with nothing but pain in your chest and fire in your soul. But you were there. You built this. So don't expect credit. Don't wait for validation. Own it. Own your struggle. Own your silence. Own your rise. And when it all starts to work, when the money comes in, when your name starts echoing through rooms you haven't even walked into yet, stay dangerous, stay disciplined, because success isn't the end. It's the beginning of even harder challenges. More power, more responsibility, more enemies, more distractions, and if you're not grounded, if you haven't trained in solitude, it will consume you. But not you. You've been forged in fire. You've been trained by the storm. You've sat with your demons and stared them down. So when life gets louder, you stay quiet. When things fall apart, you stay focused. When everyone else panics, you execute. You don't need to announce your comeback, you just show up. You don't need to scream that you're different, you prove it. You don't need to chase attention, because real power attracts. So let them scroll, let them party, let them doubt. You build, you rise, alone. Because being alone is not a curse, it's a crucible. It's not a punishment, it's preparation. It's not weakness, it's warfare. This is how kings are made. This is how warriors are born. This is how you become the man you are destined to be. So the next time it's quiet and you feel like the world forgot you, smile. Because that's your moment. That's your arena. That's where you sharpen your blade. Welcome it. Embrace it. Use it. Because being alone, that's your weapon. You ever notice how the most powerful men in history didn't walk in packs? They didn't move in crowds. They didn't need 100 voices in their ears telling them who to be or how to think. They walked alone. And that solitude didn't make them weak. It made them dangerous. You don't sharpen a blade by keeping it comfortable. You sharpen it by dragging it across stone over and over until it screams. That's what being alone is. It's the friction, the grind, the process of cutting off the softness and shaping the steel beneath. And listen, there are going to be nights when the silence is so loud it feels like it could crush you. Nights where your mind turns against you, where doubt creeps in and whispers that you'll never make it, that you're wasting time, that you're not good enough. I've had those nights. I still do. But I don't run from them. I listen. Because inside that pain is a message. Inside that doubt is a question. Are you going to break now or are you going to build? And every time I chose to build, I walked closer to the man I was meant to be. People talk about finding themselves like it's a vacation. Like you'll magically discover who you are by sitting on a beach, sipping a drink, journaling your feelings. Nah. You create yourself in the trenches. You build yourself when you're bruised, bloodied, and completely alone. That's why solitude is sacred. That's why isolation is a gift, not a curse. It gives you time to craft the blueprint, time to analyze your flaws, your habits, your mission, and then it gives you the quiet, focused environment to attack them, without applause, without distraction, without compromise. I see men who fear being alone because they associate solitude with weakness. But let me tell you something straight. There is no greater strength than the man who stands tall without backup, No noise, no praise, just him, his mission, and his work. And the truth is, being alone isn't empty, it's pure. It's where all the fake things fall away, the shallow friendships, the meaningless conversations, the validation addiction. When it's just you, the real you, that's when transformation happens. That's when you stop living to impress and start living to dominate. And domination doesn't come from waiting for the perfect time. It comes from waking up early when you don't want to. From grinding when you're tired. From staying disciplined when there's no one watching to congratulate you. That's what builds a killer instinct. Solitude doesn't just make you strong, it makes you strategic. You start seeing the matrix. You start understanding that while everyone else is busy keeping up appearances, you're stacking real power, real wealth, real capability. You don't rise